Earlier, you brought that up. I love that. I think the biggest issue we see today are people trying to imitate. Now, that is important sometimes at first to get a feel or a sense of what somebody's doing. Do you feel well, actually, I'd like to ask you that question. What do you feel is the biggest barrier to somebody accepting that their own kung fu is theirs? And how do they reconcile in their head that what they think Wing Chun is versus what their kung fu is? Like, how can they finally find their own?
Yeah, that's I think is a big challenge, maybe the biggest challenge, because when Wing Chun came to the West or even China now, you use some kind of logic we can call the model logic, because we have a model and we try to fulfill the model. So we can see the deeper discussion about it in a book called Treatise of Efficacy by the professors Francois Julien, which is a sinologist, a French sinologist, which he compares a model logic and unfolding logic, which is the Chinese way of thinking. So basically, the model logic is a Greek way of thinking, which influenced all of us in the Western world, and even now in China, because China is adopting a lot of Western thinking, mainly after the communist revolution, and try to adapt for their own way. But Kung Fu, it must earlier than that, and so that's why we always try to follow a model, and this is for us is very important to recognize, for example, a model of efficacy or a model of do something, and these are considered the best way to do. So that's why we study cases and try to use the case in a like a paradigm, which we see that's the best way to handle it. But in the Chinese way, and specifically when we study Wing Chun, we use different kind of approach or different kind of logic. So that's why it's possible a system to provide conditions to we achieve our own Kung Fu. Otherwise, it will be a method. And being a method is different, because the method has a clear goal. They have all the kind of process, very linear to achieve their goal, which is maybe works for you, but maybe won't work for me. So that's most of the time happen in the schools, right? Because you have even a time to absorb the teaching, because you have certain in certain day we have the exam, you have the test. So that means if you don't observe the teaching, the knowledge, the teacher teach you or supposed to teach you or taught you, you can you are not considered good student. But each one of us have different ways to or way and time to observe what are we are exposed. Sometimes I need more time to process, to digest what I experience. So maybe you're smarter than me or not, or depends of subject, depends of the experience. I absorb faster than you or not. So, but how we can decide in a certain way, in other words, in the day of the test, that's the day I have to perform. In other words, have high marks or so on, So, of course, this is a method. And unfortunately, many teachers try to copy this method for Wing Chun system too. you know, and which is kind of go against the nature of the system.